Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats.
You know, I don't care what anybody says. The reality is, truth is definitely stranger than fiction. And if you're within the sound of my voice, that must mean you're in the seats with once more. As always, my name is Dave Voigt, and I'm the host of this podcast where we sit down with a wide ranging variety of entertainment industry professionals as we pick their brain about current projects, state of the industry, how they got started, and so very much more in a light and in a conversational fashion. And, you know, if you like how we do things around here, I am going to go out on a limb and assume that you do, because let's face it, you're listening right now. And if you are listening, keep listening and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button, gives you a 5-star rating on your podcast provider of choice. We're available pretty much everywhere, places like Apple, Amazon, Spotify, Google. Plus, we archive every single one of our episodes over at our In the Seats YouTube channel. So if you can give us a like and subscribe there as well, we'd absolutely appreciate it. Also, don't hesitate to check us out on social media. We're on the Facebook, the Twitter, the Instagram, the Letterboxd, the TikTok, and probably a few other places too, at In the Seats for all sorts of fun updates. And finally, and I do dare say most importantly, please pay us a visit over at In the Seats, intheseats.ca for all the latest and greatest from the world of film, television, basically the moving image at large. Because guess what? If we love to watch it and read about it and talk about it, we love it that much more when you come by and read about it and listen about it. So please do us that kindness. Come on by and pay us a visit. In theaters now after a successful run at the festival circuit, and especially here at TIFF in Toronto. It is a brand new movie in theaters. It's called Luckiest Man in America. It is based on a true story, and it is co-written and directed by Samir Oliveros and starring a few people. The one and only Paul Walter Hauser, Walton Goggins, Shamir Anderson, a few other people. A lot of really good cast. But it's based on a true story, and it's May. It's 1984, and an unemployed ice cream truck driver steps onto the game show Press Your Luck, harboring a secret. He knows the key. He knows how to win money all the time, again and again and again. He knows how to break the game, but his winning streak is threatened when executives were pretty bewildered at how well he's doing. Uncover his actual motivations. It's to say that it's insane would be an understatement. This is a wild, wild story. And back at the festival, we had the chance to sit down with co-writer and director Samir Oliveros to talk about turning this absolutely crazy story into a movie for you to enjoy, and it's a good one. And it's again, I think it's a star-making turn from Paul Walter Hauser as well, who is just again on the rise as one of our great actors out there. And it's got Walton Goggins in it too, who's also a lot of fun. But like I said, go to theaters, watch The Luckiest Man in America. I said Luckiest Man Alive, but no, it's The Luckiest Man in America. It's in theaters now. But first, enjoy our talk with co-writer and director Samir Oliveros, because between you and me, it's a pretty darn good one. I mean, obviously, first off, just thank you so much for the time today. I really appreciate this. I mean, and congrats on your premiere at the TIFF, man. I just got the chance to watch the movie. I absolutely loved it.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the kind words, and thank you for taking the time to talk.
Now, I mean, I guess my first question is like, walk me through the origin of this story sort of hitting your desk, because I mean, obviously, I mean, even I had heard about it a little bit, but I didn't know a lot of the meat and potatoes of it all.
Yeah, so I was actually in a Goodwill in Los Angeles when I was looking for. I usually like to go to thrift shops and look for recorded memories because I find them as good inspiration for scripts and movies.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I found this VHS tape, and one of them had Pressure Luck on it. So I started watching the show, and I was like, wow, this looks very fun and very 80s. And I started researching it, and then I found out about the scandal, and I looked for the movie, and there was no Michael Larson movie. So I was like, okay, wow, we need to make this movie happen. So that's how I started working on it.
Absolutely love it. And I mean, it's the old joke, but I mean, they say 90% of the job is casting. And I mean, you've got such a loaded ensemble here. I mean, just starting off with Paul Walter, because I mean, obviously that guy is hugely underrated. Like, talk to me about trying to find the right people for the right movies, because I mean, obviously, if you don't find the right Michael Larson, this movie doesn't work.
Totally. Yeah. So from the very beginning of the process, we knew that because of the movie being inspired on true events and something that is quite fun and amusing, we wanted in terms of tone for the movie to be uh, a comedy, or to at least have a lot of comedic elements.
Yeah.
Um, and that's why once we were done with the script, we realized that the character is very complex. And if you look at Michael Larson, you see him being pretending to be a good contestant on that clip, but you really can tell that the guy is very, very complex, and that there's a lot of stuff to unravel behind him and behind his facade. So we knew that it was somebody from comedy, and we knew that it had to be somebody that also had the range to play dramatic beats. And at the same time, we were tracking all of these comedic actors, and we had just finished watching Blackbird, and we were like, okay, this guy has the range. He could be really good for it. So Paul was at the top of our list, and I think we got it was meant to be. I think it was meant to be. I think he was meant to play Paul, Michael. And yeah, we're so glad that he did, because he does play a pretty good Michael Larson.
No, I mean, I'm curious, especially on a shoot like this, because I mean, there's going to be a limited amount of budget. Like, do you get a lot of rehearsal time with someone like Paul? Because I mean, the onion that he's unpeeling is massive.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, the indie movie world doesn't allow you
Yeah.
for rehearsal. I got to go to his house once before we got onto set, and to speak about the character, and to s- speak precisely about the onion. We literally used that metaphor, and to speak about the four questions that we wanted to answer throughout the script, which were the what is he doing, how is he doing it, who really is this guy, and why is he doing it. And once we got this, we got on the same page with Paul. It really just worked very well on set. And yeah, I think he nailed it.
Can you talk to me a little bit about the sort of visual aesthetic of how you wanted the film to look? Because I mean, just in watching it, I was kind of marveled by the reality of he that you kind of mastered sort of that VHS aesthetic without it looking crappy.
Yeah, yeah, there was a lot of research, and we did do a lot of tests. There was also a lot of research done on the back end, so we were very lucky because we found the son of the creator of Press Your Luck. So Bill Carruthers Jr. was our creative consultant, and he gave us a lot of intel on the podiums and the game board, and the things that happened off screen and all that stuff. So with that information, we had really, really long conversations with my production designer to crack the look, and to also give us space, so that we can actually walk and shoot and put the camera and our cranes and our dollies and all that stuff, while keeping it realistic. So yeah, the reality is that we built the Press Your Luck game show exactly how it was, with just a little bit more space for us to the filmmakers to be inhabiting it at the same time. And then with the cinematographer, we did a lot of testing, with two cameras and VHS, um, transfers and beta cams and beta transfers, just to get the right look, so
Right.
that, like you said, it was not gonna deter people, because sometimes people go very faithful with the VHS look, but it does look shitty, and you don't get enough detail, or you miss the dialogue, or you kind of don't get the whole grasp of the story because they were too faithful. So we settled for something that looked exactly like it, but didn't distortion the image too much. So I'm glad that it worked for you.
Well, it's amazing what you can do these days. I mean, even initially when I was watching the film, I was like, "My God, they shot this on film." But then I'm like, "No, this is on a budget. There's no way they shot this on actual film."
Yeah, yeah. I'm glad that you fell for it.
And it's one of those things where we're really immersed in sort of the moment. And obviously, when you're making a movie like this, I'm always kind of curious because they'll say inspired by or based on a true story or yada yada yada. When you're doing your research and you're putting everything together, how do you walk the line between showing what actually happened versus making some tweaks for the betterment of the script and sort of the entertainment value of it all?
Right. So as I said, we knew, like our biggest source material was the 42 minutes that you can find on YouTube, which is the taping, the two episodes of Michael pressing. And obviously, we wanted to be very faithful to that. But as screenwriters, we knew that our playground was going to be the before, the commercial breaks, and the after. And that's when we started dramatizing. And that's when somebody like Bill Carruthers Jr. came to be really a really helpful resource because we would show him the drafts and he would tell us like, oh, okay, yeah, but there is one more person in the hierarchy of the control room, and that is the program practices lawyer who is usually at every single taping. And we're like, amazing, let's bring that person onto the script, and that's the character of Donna that Shonette plays. So when we started dramatizing and having him as a tool to bounce ideas, it started to become really fun, and it became a page turner. And we knew that if we were having fun reading it, it was going to be very fun on the screen. So that's how we structure it. We structured it, and yeah, we also did a lot of research on Michael's life. We knew that he had a broken family, several broken families, and that his love life was just not the best, and that he had just broken a lot of promises, and we understood that this was a guy who was seeking validation and wanting love. So that's why um, it was easy for me to relate to that, because as a filmmaker that comes from abroad, trying to break into Hollywood, and with girlfriends that have left me because I promised to be a director and they didn't believe in me. I relate to Michael wanting to prove himself. So yeah, so I also put a little bit of my heart into it, and I think it worked.
Well, and I can see a little bit of that relatability as well because I mean to be fair, I mean I've seen Bad Lucky Goat. I'm a big fan of Bad Lucky Goat, but you can't necessarily draw a straight line from that to Luckiest Man in America.
I'm glad you saw that. That's surprising. But yeah, no, those are different movies, and those are about people getting into trouble, which is always fun. I always love to get people into trouble, and bold characters that make bold decisions. So I'm glad that you've been tracking.
When you're getting into a story and you're looking for a project, like what is it like what's the hook gonna be for you? Is it a character? Is it a situation? Like when you really decide on sort of diving headfirst into something like you have obviously with Luckiest Man in America, like what's that ultimate hook that sort of catches you?
Yeah, I think it has to do with complex characters and some of their bold decision making. I do relate a lot to scammers and schemers and people that look for unorthodox ways to accomplish their dreams, because that's kind of what we had to do in order to make this movie. And again, as an international filmmaker trying to break into Hollywood, I am an outsider trying to make my way and to fulfill my dream of being able to make movies in Hollywood. And I'm not going to be able to do it the traditional way, at least not for my first movies. So there's always a parallel in looking for, yeah, unorthodox ways to accomplish your dream. So every character that tries to pretend somebody that he's not, or that he cheats somebody into doing something just to get his way, hopefully not for very legal reasons, will always catch my eye.
For sure, I like that. No, I mean, I've got to ask. It's a bit of a loaded question, but it's always something I'm curious about because obviously this is your world premiere. You're coming to a festival like TIFF, but at the same time, we're in a unique business where most, if not all of us, come to it as fans first. For you coming into a situation like this, how do you manage to sort of, I guess, keep the eye on the prize, especially while there's so many other movies and so many other things going on around you? I can imagine it can be hard, a little hard to sort of keep focus in the moment, especially when in reality you're here to work. You're not necessarily here to see other movies.
Yeah, that's a great question, but that's exactly why people like you are key to this whole thing. Because if we know that we have fans, we know that the word is going to spread, and that's how the movie gets a little buzz going for it. And hopefully, we're going to be able to get, yeah, some buyers into the room, and get some distribution for the movie. And yeah, if we get positive reviews, and now that Letterboxd is such a big thing, if we get some good letterboxed reviews, then that's also going to come into play. And we're hoping to get a wide release. We know that people know about the Michael Larson scandal. We know that this could be released throughout the whole United States and maybe more, knowing that there's 4 million daily viewers of the current version of Press Your Luck. So yeah, the hope is that it all starts with people like you, David.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, man. I wasn't fishing for a compliment, but I'll take it because I mean, it really is interesting just to see this evolve because I mean, honestly, it's got such a great cast. It's really such a compelling movie, and you're playing some big rooms here in Toronto as well, so you're going to get a lot of eyeballs on it. So I'm really excited for you.
Thank you, and yeah, we hope that that's the case.
Now, I mean, just to start putting a bow on this, I'm a little curious. It's a bit of a nerdy question, but I mean, I always like to ask. Was there a movie or sort of a moment in your life as a young man that had the light bulb go off? And you know what? I want to do that. I want to make movies.
That's a good one. Let me think.
You
I
can
don't
say Star Wars. It's okay. Everyone like you don't be the first person. It's totally fine.
know. No, I actually do not like Star Wars.
Oh wow. Okay, fair enough.
Um, yeah, no, let me think about it. I don't know if I can track it back so far in time. But if you want, I can give you an example very recently of a movie that I saw and I was like, fuck yes, this is why I make movies. And that is La Quimera by Alice Rohrwacher.
Okay.
Yeah, she did Happy as Lázaro before that
Oh
movie.
right. Yes, yes, yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. Her latest movie is a complete treasure, and I'm in love with it, and I'm in love with her, and she is the most talented living filmmaker alive. So every time I see one of her movies, I'm like, okay, this is what I want to do. This is why I do it. I hope that one day I can reach her level.
Well, you know what, man? When I see her name, I go in blind. And I think at one day we're going to see your name and people are going to go in blind and just watch it for the sake of watching it. But honestly, Luckiest Man in America is so much fun. And I
Thank you.
seriously can't wait for more people to see it. You're gonna have a great time here with it. But again, just congrats on the film and thank you so much again for the time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, David.
And don't forget to visit our friends over at Bay Street Video for all your DVD, Blu-ray rental, or purchasing needs this summer, as they are still open for curbside and some mailing delivery as well. Over at 1172 Bay Street, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, you can give them a call at 416-964-9088. That's 416-964-9088. Or send them an email at baystreetvideoto@gmail.com for any of your DVD and Blu-ray needs.